4 o'clock now on your Thursday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer Meckles.
And I'm Kyle Clark. Who are we and why are we here? Tom and Kim are off today. This is what you get. Buckle up because the kids are driving the bus. Right now we are looking at mountain snow coming down that is topping off snowpack that is at 100% statewide before the big melt starts. It's a live look at the CDOT cameras along I-70 near Loveland Pass.
Here in the metro today we had some clouds, but it pretty much stayed dry. We even got a few peaks of sunshine, Lauren. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, those peaks didn't last very long, and they didn't do too much to warm us up. Temperatures stayed cooler as promised. A lot of those showers stayed to the south. Now, if you were following along late last night, around 9 and 10 o'clock shows, then we were kind of showing that the urban corridor was likely to stay pretty dry today, and that's what happened. So those models, as they were updating, they were trending drier across the urban corridor and wetter to the south. We did see those cooler temperatures, though. We got to the 40s and 50s across the Front Range and Eastern Plains. Right now, we're seeing those 30s, 40s, 50s in the high country, 60s out west. But let's take a look at our 24-hour temperature change map where, of course, we're feeling that cooler air. We're just 2 degrees cooler right now in Denver, but most of the Front Range and Eastern Plains between 5 to 10 degrees cooler than we were this time yesterday. Now we're going to turn our attention to the HD Doppler radar where we do have some light scattered snow showers just west of the Front Range here into the foothills and into the high country. These showers are going to be heavier as we move our way to the south, though. So this is where we have winter weather advisories that just went into effect. They'll be in effect until noon tomorrow. So we're going to watch for the heaviest snow to fall in central and southern portions of the high country overnight and into the first portion of our day tomorrow. Now, coming up in my full 7-day forecast, we're going to talk about that heavy overnight mountain snow. We're also going to talk about those rain shower chances for tomorrow and what our Mother's Day weekend is going to look like. All of those details for you just ahead.
Lauren, thank you. There's another pro-Palestinian protest camp that has popped up in town. This is on the DU campus. You're looking live at Carnegie Green near the university's administrative building. Relatively small scene compared to what has been on the Auraria campus for the last 2 weeks. You know, there are even some questions in the pro-Palestinian groups around town, so forth, about when exactly DU was going to get off the couch and join the party, given the vocal support for that cause on that campus. And the answer was today. Group calling itself DU for Palestine set up camp around 11 this morning. The protest organizers say the demonstration is in solidarity with others that are happening on the Auraria campus and around the country. And the group Jewish Voices for Peace joined the pro-Palestinian protest at DU.
Jews in America and North America have a lot of different feelings and thoughts about the actions of Israel, and it's important that we as Jews are speaking up against some of the atrocities that the Israeli government is making.
So similar to other protests that we have seen, the group is demanding that the university divest from companies supporting Israel. Organizers say they will not leave that campus quad area until the university meets their demands. We have seen some counter-protests. You saw the Israeli flags on the outskirts of that gathering. There are some pro-Israel counter-protesters at DU. Everything today has been totally peaceful.
What you're doing isn't helping anybody. You're honestly just making it difficult. Like, I had a student over here, she's graduating, and she's like, I really want to graduate. I don't want to not be able to walk. I don't want the school to shut down because of this.
So DU is saying at this point that those protesters on the green will be allowed to stay and protest. No plans to sweep or remove them so long as they follow the student honor code. And since we last reached out to them, DU says they have not received a full list of protester demands. This is our live camera on the ground here from our photojournalist Tom Cole, showing scenes protesters talk to each other, organize, and so forth. Thing to remember here about this is, of course, this is also within the Denver city limits, and DPD is very gun-shy about sweeping these camps after a disastrous attempt to do that at the Auraria campus, in which the tents were not removed after the sweep. Protesters set it up, made it bigger hours later, and DPD says they're done sweeping camps just for sweeping camp's sake. So as the protests kick off at DU, Auraria is now weeks into theirs, and today campus leaders updated the community on what's happening at Tivoli Quad.
Protesters have been there now 2 weeks. 14 of them faced charges after police say they occupied a building and prevented students from getting to a final exam on Tuesday. That same day, police placed zip ties on doors leading into the Tivoli Student Union. MSU Denver originally said protesters placed those zip ties. They later admitted it was actually police who did it. Today, Auraria leaders say police made that call to put the student union into lockdown because the protesters were inside.
In this particular situation, there were 2 doors that would not lock, and so they were zip tied or handcuffed. But there were officers stationed right near those doors. And right next to those doors was another set of doors where people were being let out into the outside of the student union.
Now, Auraria would not say today why they initially reported that protesters placed those zip ties instead of the police. Denver police say they will not sweep the encampment on campus again unless there's some kind of an escalation. Graduations are happening at local colleges this week. This morning, the Community College of Denver celebrated its 2024 commencement at the Lowry campus in East Denver. Earlier this week, CCD opted to move its graduation from the Auraria campus. They're one of the multiple schools that use that campus, moving it from there to Lowry to avoid any potential protest disruptions. At this point, we've heard no reports of any disruptions following this morning's ceremony.
A crash early today on I-70 killed the driver and shut down lanes for hours. Aurora police say a Prius hit a semi around 5 a.m. in the westbound lanes of 70 near Chambers. Police say the driver of the Prius was speeding when they hit the back of the semi. That crash closed the westbound lanes on 70, caused significant delays through the morning commute. Police say all those lanes reopened at 9. A scam is targeting migrants in Denver and putting one woman in a tough position as people keep showing up at her door.
They have all said the same thing. They saw her home on Facebook, and now they're ready to move in. Our Janelle Finch tells us more about how this woman unknowingly, Janelle, found herself in the middle of a rental scam.
That's right. This homeowner says she's tired of crushing dreams, but she says that's what she's had to do every time a migrant knocks on her door. She didn't want us to show her home, but she did want us to tell her story and alert others to this kind of scam. In life, everyone has a role.
Right.
And Anita Allegranzi has unexpectedly become the bearer of bad news. Late April, a migrant showed up on her doorstep.
The doorbell rang. I answered the door. The person that spoke to me says, "I'm here to see the house for rent." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you have the wrong address."
She closed the door and didn't ask any more questions.
But I figured it would never happen again.
Then it did. Another knock on the door
1 week later, on the 28th,
from another set of migrants, which she realized were scam victims.
I tell them, "Esta casa está mi esposo y mí." And they just look at me. And they tell me that they found it on Facebook.
She learned a villain put her address online and was taking money for down payments from people with little to nothing.
Why would this be going on? So then I realized that people are using this particular need for an opportunity to enrich themselves.
She alerted Denver police to the potential scam, but not before a third hopeful tenant saw the listing and rang her doorbell.
And they traveled all the way from Westminster to come and see the home. And I told them it was not for rent and that they had been scammed.
She's disappointed she can't be the hero.
It's frustration because I can't help them. I can't even say, "Here, go to this address."
But she hopes a new character will step in to support those in need of saving.
It is important that we teach them how to live in Colorado. Come on, they're here. Let's help them.
The Denver District Attorney's Office says it's been dealing with rental scams even before the arrival of migrants. The office says victims can call its fraud hotline to report the issue. The DA says it's working on ways to distribute common red flag information to migrants to alert them to potential scams. In the studio, Janelle Finch, 9 News.
It's so disappointing. You've got such a vulnerable population to begin with. It's just sad. All right, Janelle, thank you. Take a live look at Denver right now. Cloudy skies over the city. Denver Mayor Mike Johnston's now out with a new proposal, hoping to bring some life back to the downtown area. Today, the mayor announced a proposal to extend the Downtown Denver Authority. This program is a financing stream that was made to support the infrastructure projects at Union Station. Johnston says this expansion could help invest $500 million into downtown without adding new taxes over the next 10 years. Breaks down to about $50 million a year. This taxing authority is already in place, so it would be up to the city council to approve this extension. And if they give approval, this effort would extend out to all of the central business district.
We will together curate uniquely Denver experiences that you can't find anywhere else in the world and provide the essential services people need to make this business district a neighborhood district, including childcare facilities and safe and walkable neighborhoods.
Starting today, the city's launching a website. They want your feedback from people, from businesses about what kind of projects people want to see downtown. And based off of those, the city will make a guide for investments that would be released by the end of this year. If it's successful, the city hopes to start investment projects in the first quarter of 2025.